Sakalayan gunarnavasya Vande Guru Sri Charanarabindam.
Your respectable younger brother, who possesses the strength of 10,000 elephants, killed by his grace Jarāsandh, whose feet were worshipped by many kings. These kings had been brought for sacrifice in Jarāsandh's Mahabharata Yagya, but they were thus released. Later they paid tribute to your majesty. Jarāsandh was a very powerful king of Magad, and the history of his birth and activities is also very interesting. His father, King Brihadrath, was also a very prosperous and powerful king of Magad, but he had no son, although he married 2 daughters of the king of Kashi. Being disappointed in not getting a son from either of the 2 queens, the king, along with his wives, left home to live in the forest for austerities. But in the forest he was blessed by one great rishi to have a son, and he gave him 1 mango to be eaten by the queens. The queens did so and were very soon pregnant. The king was very happy to see the queens bearing children, but when the ripe time approached, the queens delivered 1 child in 2 parts, one from each of the queens' wombs. The 2 parts were thrown in the forest, where a great she-demon used to live, and she was glad to have some delicate flesh and blood from the newly born child. Out of curiosity, she joined the 2 parts, and the child became complete and regained life. The she-demon was known as Gyara, and being compassionate on the childless king, she went to the king and presented him with the nice child. The king was very pleased with the she-demon and wanted to reward her according to her desire. The she-demon expressed her desire that the child be named after her, and thus the child was surnamed Jarāsandh, or one who was joined by Jara, the she-demon. In fact, this Jarāsandh was born as one of the parts and parcels of the demon Viprachiti. The saint by whose benedictions the queens bore the child was called Kaushik, who foretold of the child before his father Brihadrath. Since he possessed demoniac qualities from birth, naturally he became a great devotee of Lord Shiva, who is the lord of all ghostly and demoniac men. Ravan was a great devotee of Lord Shiva, and so also King Jarāsandh. He used to sacrifice all arrested kings before Lord Mahabhairav, Shiva, and by his military power he defeated many small kings and arrested them to butcher before Mahabhairav. There are many devotees of Lord Mahabhairav, or Kalbhairav, in the province of Bihar, formerly called Magad. Jarāsandh was a relative of Kamsh, the maternal uncle of Krishna, and therefore after Kamsh's death King Jarāsandh became a great enemy of Krishna, and there were many fights between Jarāsandh and Krishna. Lord Krishna wanted to kill him, but he also wanted that those who served as military men for Jarāsandh might not be killed. Therefore a plan was adopted to kill him. Krishna, Bhīm, and Arjun together went to Jarāsandh in the dress of poor Brahmans and begged charity from King Jarāsandh. Jarāsandh never refused charity to any Brahman, and he performed many sacrifices also, yet he was not on a par with devotional service. Lord Krishna, Bhīm, and Arjun asked Jarāsandh for the facility of fighting him, and it was settled that Jarāsandh would fight with Bhīm only. So all of them were both guests and combatants of Jarāsandh, and Bhīm and Jarāsandh fought every day for several days. Bhīm became disappointed, but Krishna gave him hints about Jarāsandh's being joined together as an infant, and thus Bhīm dissected him again, and so killed him. All the kings who were detained in the concentration camp to be killed before Mahabhairav were thus released by Bhīm. Feeling thus obliged to the Pandavas, they paid tribute to King Yudhishthira.